all burn out, and it seems like it's only getting worse and more frequent. But I made a tool to help, and I want to show you how to make it too. This is how I experience burnout. Tell me if you do this too. So I do really well until I don't, right? I work until I'm exhausted, and this makes me feel really bad about myself. Another part of me shows up and gets really mean. And while one half is going even more numb from the situation, the other half eventually just abandons the situation until, I fix it. Hours or days or even weeks later, when I finally manage to peel myself off the floor, the other part of me just kind of strolls back in and is like, good, you're up. Get back to work, let's go. And I do. Until it happens again and again. This is the cycle of burnout that we are all so familiar with. The part that gets me is that the worst version of myself comes out when I am the most vulnerable in burnout. I act like the worst friend ever. How many times have you ever felt that you would never say or do the terrible things that go on in here to a friend of yours? Like you would never say or do those things, but it is so easy to do to yourself. If this sounds familiar to you, then I really hope you take away some insight from today's video, because I can tell you I was that person, that terrible, terrible friend to myself, and I am on the other side of it now. And I really, really want to show you how to. If you're new here, hi, I'm Mari. I'm a ballerina turned YouTuber, and I help you find ways to better yourself and equip you with tools to handle life's moments, like burnout. So let's talk about this little thing that's changed my life. This is the Burnout Manual. It is my personal safety net for when the world feels way too heavy. And today, I want to show you how to make your own. Conceptually, the Burnout Manual does not have to be a tangible thing that you can hold in your hand. What it is that it is my way of promising myself that I'll show up, that we have a plan. And when I say we, I mean the two sides of me that we saw, the two sides of us that we all have. And rather than punishing or pushing away that really mean side of us, we're gonna hand them a manual and teach them to be a better friend. By the way, I should clear something up. This manual and this video is not about preventing burnout. There are a ton of tools out there that we're gonna get to on this channel, and prevention is absolutely key. And when I say prevention, I mean like mindfulness, affirmations, staying physically active, eating well, etc. The hope is to never have to use this. But I have realized that even with all the prevention, I've still found myself in burnout in the past. And somehow I feel worse because I think it shouldn't happen because of all the prevention. So then I end up spiraling more. You know what I mean? This is to scoop us up on the worst days, if we should so happen to find ourselves there, just like we would with a good friend. Anyway, this is just my preference. You could do this completely digitally. Keep it on your notes app. You can write it on Post-it notes or a journal. Make it your own. You definitely do not have to be extra about it, so do not let this scare you off. The most important thing about the Burnout Manual is that you have something to guide you through the storm. It is a life raft. Present you is leaving in case future you needs it. Ooh, that is a bar. Okay. What's crazy is this. I am willing to bet that you will need it less because you actually made it. Let me explain. Think of a scenario where you have insurance for something, right? House, let's call it health insurance. Getting sick is probably in like the back of your mind, but for the most part, you go through life pretty unbothered because you're covered. Now think of a scenario where you don't have the insurance. And now getting sick is higher stakes. You definitely don't want to get sick, so you probably think about it more. And the more you think about it, the more anxiety you have. And lo and behold, you're sick. Having this Burnout Manual has literally felt like I have this hypothetical insurance policy. And because I do, I seem to not be getting close to needing it so far. And it's been months. It has seriously changed my life, my outlook on how I see burnout, how I see myself, how I treat myself, and the future. So I really hope it helps you out too. So let's go through my personal manual and I'll guide you through making yours. I designed this using a bunch of pictures I found on Pinterest that really inspired me, and I designed it in an app called Canva. I printed it out and I cut it into this little booklet. First of all, I love the tangibility of it and having something to hold in my hands, but I also like the size of it because it has really like personal things. It says like you're loved. And if I'm holding out like a giant sheet of paper that says like, "Dear Mari, are you having a burnout day?" Like this, to me, pulling this size sheet of paper, I don't know. Maybe I need to do some more work on myself because it feels embarrassing. But pulling out something this size and it being like, "Hey man, you having a bad day?" That to me feels like I can handle it. But hey, if you can handle this size, more power to you. So here's the cover of my burnout manual and the cover page. It's got this concrete aesthetic to it to match this picture that I found on Pinterest that really resonated with me. It's got this like downed soldier, or I don't know, maybe she's asleep, or I don't know. She definitely looks like she's gotten her ass kicked. And that is how I feel when I am burnt out. I also love the flowers around her. To me, it symbolizes growth and hope. So, you'll see a bunch of flowers throughout. So while the cover and cover page are extra and not necessary for you to include in your manual, I would suggest you do this next part though. It's a letter to yourself to set the vibes and sort of kick things off. Mine says, hi. Because that's how I would say hi to like myself. You know what I mean? Like, how would you start this conversation at your best self or your saddest self? So yeah, for me, it's hi. Going on, it says, so first of all, if you're reading this, it means you're not doing so great. I want you to know that that's okay. I love you. You're safe. We've got a plan and we'll troubleshoot this together. Okay, I've got you. These are words that I know I need to hear. This feeling, this slowing down is a system reboot. It's temporary. It'll pass. The more you focus on compassion right now, the stronger you'll be when you're back to oh, that's a typo. The more you focus on compassion right now, the stronger you'll be when we're back in order. The first iteration, you'll see that this is a version 1.2. The first iteration of this was all robot themed. Like, I'm a robot that needs troubleshooting. Again, this is version 1.2. It's had some different iterations. So, the analogies are a little bit more robot-like, but just let it go. Okay. Take a breath, Mari. You're not broken. See, more robot stuff. You're not broken and you're not disappointing anyone. You're in need of a little maintenance. More robot stuff. So let's take care of you. Burnout isn't a badge of honor. It's a warning shot. Time to rest and reset. See, this is where it gets a little bit more like Night Warrior vibe. So it's a mixture. Moving on. Next, you want to give yourself clear instructions as if it's, again, like a little robot troubleshooting manual. Think of it like you're a human operating system and you need to follow short, concise, easy to follow instructions for the next steps. For me, it says, so let's start here, and I have a little mantra. With each small step, I nurture my light, rebuilding with patience and care. Again, things that I need to hear, it might be very, very different for you. First, do these things in order. Play Gregorian chants playlist. More on Gregorian chants later. I've got some things to say. Then, drink water. Look at the wheel. This is the feelings wheel. Name the feeling. It's a tool that allows me to get a little bit more finite with my feelings. After that, the instruction is to open up GPT and let her rip. Meaning open up and talk about it by brain dumping how I'm feeling into ChatGPT. This is so that I don't make the lame excuse that my therapist isn't available right now at this exact point in time, so I can't get this done. To be crystal clear, GPT is not a therapist, it's not a replacement, but it does give me an immediate place to put my feelings and have some back and forth feedback. Then I drink some more water and finally assess whether I'm gonna keep working today or if I'm gonna take a break. If the latter, continue reading the manual. What this means is that these burnout days can go one of two ways. It might still be a working day for me, meaning I can't take the day off. Or it might be a day that's crossed a certain threshold that I've chosen now to take a mental health day or a sick day or a not gonna work day, etc. And you might be saying, hey, I take mental health breaks and it's all about just resting and not doing anything. Totally get it. The problem I found with taking a day off when I'm not feeling mentally 100% is that I am really susceptible to completely wasting what should be a rejuvenating day. Rather than doing things for myself, I just sit on the couch and doom scroll for like 8 hours. And I actually feel way, way worse. So this burnout manual with its very short but clear set of instructions, surprisingly, prevents that. Now, if you're making this for yourself, I would suggest giving yourself a few things to do that you often forget when you're in this sort of state of mind. When I'm feeling icky and kind of like self-destructive, I will dehydrate myself because I know that that gives me headaches. And so it's kind of like a way of punishing myself or neglecting myself. My brain's like, well, you're already feeling terrible. Why not just make yourself feel even more terrible? I laugh about it, but you gotta have a sense of humor, I guess. Anyway, that's why drink water is on there twice for me. Oh, and circling back to Gregorian chants. So if you're unfamiliar, it's basically Roman Catholic liturgical music. So if you think of going into like a Roman Catholic church and the choir is singing, it's that music. To me, it sounds very elvish, like Lord of the Rings elvish, not like Austin Butler elvish. Jokes sucked. I am not religious myself, but the music literally changes my brain and my habit. I think it's because it sounds so ethereal. I actually stopped doom scrolling on Twitter and TikTok while listening to these chants because everything else just seems so silly and trite and trivial. My brain's being pumped with these like beautiful choral elvish sounds, and scrolling through mindless trends just like feels boring. Anyway, if you're like a fantasy freak like me, this might resonate with you. Anyway, enough of this side quest. Moving on. The next couple of pages is this parable that feels right for when I'm personally burning out. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but you can pause it and read it if you want. If you're making a manual for yourself, this can be just about anything that inspires you. It could be a quote, it could be a song lyric, maybe something that somebody in your life has said to you. I suggest you put in something that soothes you and takes your mind to a place of feeling taken care of and understood when you're in a state of burnout. I also have this in here so that it gives me something to focus on for, like a couple of minutes. Like I have to be locked in and read the rest of this parable. It's just short enough that I'm like, all right, I can do this. And it's just long enough for me to not want to hop on my phone or something. Next, I've got a set of instructions with the idea now that this is a mental health day. I've taken the day off of work, and this gives me the basic setup for the rest of the day. It starts with a mantra, and this one says, "Today, I choose to nurture myself with kindness just as I would for a cherished..." I can't say that word. Cherished friend. Then my personal set of rules is this. 1, pack your remarkable, which is like a digital journal, laptop, phone, headphones, and this guide. Drive to a coffee shop, listen to affirmations on the way. Get a drink, a comfortable spot, turn on Gregorian chants again. Open up your laptop and continue opening up in therapy or GPT. Avoid social media. Then take a class, either Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu or a sound bath, which is, if you don't know, it's just like these sound bowls that go wah, and it takes you to a different place. The first time I did it, I felt like the freaking Avatar. Anyway, then dinner, no TV, go to sleep early. When you make this for yourself, you have to ask what you need. This is, again, very personal to me. For some, it might be staying in the comfort of your own home. For others, it might be seeking company and calling a friend or a family member immediately. For me, I know I need to put myself in an environment that is like around people, but allows me to still be private. Like I crave the social energy of people around me, but I'm not open enough when I'm feeling low to want to open up directly to a person, which is why I've put myself in a coffee shop. The last few pages are more encouragement to close it out and reminders that I'm going to get through this. This page says, take this time to sharpen your mind and renew your strength. You are unstoppable and your return is even more powerful. Here's one more story. And finally, I have one last note to myself, and it says, on your way, warrior. You're loved, you're supported, you're gonna get through this like you always do. Except this time, I'm right here and I'll watch over you. Rest easy tonight. We write at dawn. Well, realistically, like 8 a.m. And you can see the difference between the night. So yeah, that is my burnout manual. You know yourself best and the type of encouragement you need, and I implore you to make this as personal to you as possible. Knights and warriors and flowers visually speak to me, but you know what inspires you. It might be anime or your favorite game, a book character, or like even your zodiac sign. I would make one off of my zodiac sign. Let it resonate and motivate you on your journey. If any of this resonated with you, I encourage you to make your own burnout manual. And if you need a journal prompt to help you get you started, ask yourself this question. What are the first 3 things future you needs to hear when you feel overwhelmed? I would love to hear your ideas in the comments on what you would include, what excited you, how you would improve on this idea. And if you make your own, please tag me on socials and let me know. If you found it helpful, please share it with a friend and consider subscribing to the channel for more insight. This journey is about self-compassion and personal growth, and we're just getting started. Thank you so much for joining me. Until next time, be well, and I'll see you soon.